Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over. Modest tranquility. Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over.
felt its claws, I've seen its feast. It whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. The shadows crawl, the weak may fall, deception spreads to choke us all. I won't be fooled, I won't comply, I raise my voice, I will not die. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. The beast may roar, it may claw, it may bite, it prowls the dark, it shuns the light. But we are fire, we are steel, we take our fate, we will not kneel. Eyes open wide, hearts burning bright, we move as one through endless night. The lies may try to pull us down, but we are kings and queens uncrowned. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. Step forward, brother, sister, stand tall. Hear the call that shatters the wall. The beast will fall, its reign will end. We are the truth, we will defend. Shout it loud, let the mountains shake. We are the storm, we are awake. From the ashes, from the pain, we rise again, we rise again. I've beaten the beast, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more deceit. We rise as one, our hearts won't retreat. I know the beast, I face the beast, but we are many, our strength unleashed. Now step into the light, stand and see who will rise, who will rise with me.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
It's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built
built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan, they know that we're calling it bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan, they know that we're calling it bluff. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan, they know that we're calling it bluff. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan, they know that we're calling it bluff.
Well, are you ready for some unindoctrination? Well, ready or not, here it comes from somewhere, an undisclosed location, deep in the heartland of America. It's me, Jeffrey Darty, the artist known as the Christian Whistleblower. And I hope you're ready for some unindoctrination, because ready or not, here it comes. Wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, border to border, and beyond. Thanks to everybody that's here. Let's start off by saying hello to those that are assembled. Let me get way back up here to the top. Okay, we've got often, as we often do, Kylie Dugan in, Kirsten's here, Terrell's here, Uncle Petrol Sniff. Don't sniff that stuff, bro. Chick Pot Pie, Her Majesty, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba. I guess that's Hail to the Chief, but you know what I'm saying. We've got somebody else, Beard of Dagger. Let me let you know that Dagger was a major contributor to this program tonight. I appreciate it, Dagger. And I forgot to note the website or the actual YouTube channel of the people that I'm going to be pulling some of their data, but not on purpose, not on purpose. And I usually am good about that, but not this time. So who else do we have in here tonight? We've got Colleen Shermer, who also contributed to the D program. And I want you to know that I'm going to copy HT, and I haven't been very good at streaming on Goyam. They're switching to a new one. I got to put the new one into my OBS, and my OBS skills are not. So I'm going to be streaming on Goyam starting next time. I remember I'm working on procrastination. We're getting over that. We're going to be streaming on Goyam, and I'm going to promise, here I am going out on a limb again, that I'm going to have a weekly Goyam only deprogram, because it allows us to get into some of our core material, which we'll tiptoe on tonight, some of our core material without having to worry about the censorship of, you know, those guys. We won't even talk about those guys. Who else we got in here? Desiree is with us. Carmen Ness is with us. We love you too. Lewis Sharp, the impatient Lewis Sharp. Great to see you, brother. He's with us as well. And we've got Big Rob in New Zealand. Is that NZ? Big Rob NZ? Don't know. First live in so long. Where you been, bro? We've been missing you. So glad to have you in the His Owl. John Nettles is also here. And David, I wanted to say thank you to David. You sent me a great donation on the last D program, or I didn't see it until afterwards. And you can donate to me if you wish, not through here because we're demonetized and they refuse to remonetize me. But you can, David contributed on Cash App. It's $unindoctrinate, all lowercase. You can go to realgospeltruth.org. There's a donate button there. You can also get your nanosoma there. And I've had a rebirth in the effectiveness of nanosoma. Some personal things I won't talk about, but boom. Unprecedented End Times says hi from Queensland. Another Australian in the His Owl. We always have the lovely Carmen with us. You can also get, nanosoma. You just squirt it into your mouth, about 3 squirts. 5 for most people. I've been doing it so long, I'm very sensitive. So I do 3, and it gets everything out of you, literally, that's not supposed to be in you. Even that stuff that you, if you took it, you wish you didn't. Can't talk about that. They kicked me off last time. And then you can also find your focused life force energy. Cynthia, I've never been without it. It's on your phone, it's on your home, brings you a high consciousness environment. And they give you a free, I think it was 30 days, maybe it's 15, I don't know. I think it used to be 30 days, 15 on the phone, 15 on the home. Now it's 15 on both. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Try it out, free subscription. They'll even ask you for a credit card, so they're not banking on you forgetting or anything like that. So what else do I want to say? I think that's about it so far. But tonight, we're into the Gene Hackman story, and we're going to the hidden story of his death because it connects so many dots. And just when you think it's gotten as weird as it can possibly get, it gets weirder. Just let me show you something real quick. This is the, I forget the name, Archua Basin or Archua Plateau or something right there in New Mexico where all this is taking place. This is a representation of the Dulce base. I learned how to pronounce it right. This is a representation of the Dulce base. What the hell is Angelina Jolie doing there with her big lips? They're kind of gross, but they're kind of sexy. You know, it's just kind of how it is. And then you got the man, Gene Hackman. And in the background, lurking behind it all, showing us his one eye, is Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. So this all will tie in, I promise you. You will understand what I'm talking about. And people will ask on the table back there, I can't figure out how to hide these cords because they're not long enough to connect to someplace you can see them. But at any rate, we got the crystal ball right there. And we've got the Star Trek multi-level chess set for all of you Q-tards. It's, 4D chess, just like the Trumpsters playing. And I shouldn't say this, but that's never stopped me before. So Cynthia showed me a video, or actually told me about a video. She spared me looking at it. And there was this job fair. You know what a job fair is? You go into this conference room, usually a hotel, something like that, and they have a whole bunch of people interviewing people for jobs. So if you don't have a jizzob and you want one, it's a great place to go because there's a lot of recruiters there. A lot of times they'll hire right on the spot. And this goes out to my black friends, my black cousins. Do you really have black cousins? No, but in our definition, our people are our people. Like me, in case you didn't notice, I'm white. So my people, my folk are white people, right? But, and this gets me in a little bit of trouble in going, but that's okay. I have other cousins, black, red, yellow, black, red, yellow, brown, black. They are my cousins because it's those people that are not white, but still are sick and damn tired of the fear and guilt, blood magic, Judeo-Christian mind control matrix. I consider them my cousins, and I am one, even though I love my race above all, and I want my race to be optimized, and that's what I'm in the business of, is helping optimize our race. I also want the other races to be optimized, which brings me to what I shouldn't say, but it's never stopped me before, so here we go. Job fair, right? You got Asian guys and girls dressed in suits, ties, right? Of course, it's a job fair. You got Mexican guys, suits, ties, of course, it's a job fair. You got, I don't know if there's any red folks there, Indians, maybe they were dressed properly too. But then you got the black folks. You got to help your black folks. If you're a black leader, you got to get these people to step up. Here's the black folks at a job fair. The girls are wearing those Aunt Jemima bonnets, right? Dudes are wearing do-rags. They're wearing sweats and flip-flops and t-shirts at a job fair. And then this intellectually challenged individual wants to say they never get hired because of racism. it is not because of racism. If you can't get your ass out of your pajamas to go to a job fair, of course you're not going to get a damn job. I'm trying to help you. Now, I'm a white guy, and you probably think this is racist, but I really am trying to help you. So, black leaders, can you please get these people to the place where they wake the hell up? There's probably some KFC hats in there. I don't know, but I had to say it, and I feel much better having said it. But let's get into the deprogram. And pimping ain't easy, even at a job fair. It's hard out there for a pimp, trying to get the money to pay the rent. How'll the rest of it go? New hoes a hassle. Something else. But anyway, I guess it's hard out there for a pimp. But let me show you what we're going to talk about tonight. I know you can't really see this stuff, so it kind of bugs you, but my first question that came from lovely Cynthia, I said, was Gene Hackman in the Epstein files? And no, according to both ChatGPT and Grok, Hackman did not appear in the Epstein files. The searches of public records, the Maxwell defamation, the DOJ releases, flight logs, address books, no mention of Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, or any direct connection to Epstein activities. But the idea of Hackman vis-a-vis the Epstein files has to do with what we're going to talk about tonight. The coincidence of their death with the timing of a Department of Justice document release under Attorney General Pam Bondi, which also included previously known flight logs, address book, other materials, a supposedly fake Twitter post claiming Hackman vowed to expose Epstein names. We got a lot of data on that. And many suggest that his death was suspicious, being released right around the Epstein files, but no mainstream or official Epstein-related documents have named him. They have named DiCaprio, Blanchett, even Bruce Willis. I somehow feel less empathy for him because of that. But also Angelina Jolie, which we'll get into, but no Gene Hackman in the Epstein file. So tonight, let's talk about this. Let me show you this one too. This is a good one. I know most of you watching your phone, you can't read this stuff, but if you ever want to go back, here are the details. I'm going to take my red glasses off because I can't see the yellow highlighting when I do so. And no, I don't wear glasses. These are just for blue light because I think there's 12 hours in this one. 12 hours of deprogramming, of studying in this deprogram. So we're going to talk a lot about claims of secret tunnels. There's been claims of secret tunnels at the Hackman property hidden behind a library wall leading to an underground warehouse. The hallways covered with ancient runes and symbols, a lot of artifacts, a expansive network like the Paris catacombs. Some have said it contained bodies. Some have said it contained vials of, I guess you would call them unborn beings. But Gene and his wife Betsy were found dead February 2025. The FBI has not commented on these tunnels. Local authorities like the Santa Fe County Sheriffs, they've also been mum about it. But the rumors are spreading because of the couple's reclusive lifestyle in a large private Santa Fe property. Of course, these things overlapped with Epstein document releases. And there are claims, and we'll investigate these, that Gene Hackman planned to expose names and that the tunnel complexes led not only to Dulce Base, but also to Epstein's Zorro Ranch, which is nearby. And his home was known for its privacy, to say the very least. And here is what the media is not saying. Gene was neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein. He also owned an island right next door to Oprah Winfrey's private island up in BCA. Pretty cozy, eh? But Gene, some say, was done playing nice with the elite. He was ready to talk, and he was ready to burn it down. Hello, sassafras griffin. So, Proletario, excellent material. In fact, I joined his Patreon to be able to get this. And it looks like it's a treasure trove of information. I'll keep checking the phone to make sure we're not getting some great breaking news from some of our subscribers. Dagger, the worst shocking email. I don't think that's the one, Dagger.
So we're gonna
No,
start
but
this
that we are featuring that one. That's really good. But this is Proletario. He provided most of the data that I'm going to talk about, most of the receipts. This is why he thinks that they removed Gene Hackman. So deep in the New Mexico Badlands, beneath the Archuleta Mesa, that's what I was searching for, there lies a little place called the Dulce Base. It's a 7-level fortress that many say is run by a shadow alliance between the U.S. Department of Defense, or I guess we call it the Department of War now, don't we? And extraterrestrial entities. This isn't some dusty myth. Most think, and we're going to investigate it, that it's an operational hub where genetic splicing creates hybrid beings. They're blending human DNA with reptilian strains for enhanced soldiers and eternal youth serums. Gene Hackman, his property is confirmed to have concealed tunnel entrances leading directly to level 4 of Dulce Base, which is the bio-experimentation floor, and that he may have served either wittingly or unwittingly. He may have been complicit, or he could have been just used as a courier. Hackman's property was raided after he died, and they found it stocked with cryogenic vials, not props, but the vials for preserving human embryos, sourced from abducted civilians. And we will get to all this and the details. So we're going to ask tonight, what's the reality of alien human hybrids? And we're not just talking trash. We've got receipts. This came from NPR, not typically known as a right-wing conspiracy site, probably as opposite as you can be. And they're reporting that non-human biologics have been recovered from UFO crash sites, this according to a former Air Force Office of Special Investigations intelligence officer. These military veterans, there were 3 of them, they testified in Congress's hearings, so this isn't just hearsay, the hearings on UFOs. And they said that not only has the U.S. recovered, hey, C. Noble, good to see you. Not only has the U.S. recovered craft and, technological artifacts, they've also recovered non-human biologics. So I thought some of you might want to know what a biologic is. And the word biologic means related to biology. And of course, biology means, according to Merriam-Webster, the meaning of biological is of or relating to biology or to life and living processes. So very interesting stuff. And the first question that the lovely Cynthia asked is, what the hell does Angelina Jolie have to do with this? Well, let's talk about that. Funded by black budgets from Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and I can't help thinking that the billions of dollars that get sunk into NASA deal with this in a not small way. But the base itself has been proven to have electromagnetic, what's wrong with the tongue tonight? Electromagnetic pulse technology that induces hallucinations and intruders masking atrocities. It reminds me of the Untersberg. You can look on this channel, just type in Untersberg in the search. There's a search within the channel if you look carefully, and you'll see some very similar things. Angelina Jolie has been repeatedly linked to New Mexico through her so-called humanitarian visits sponsored by the United Nations. She goes to the reservations, and lots of people go missing when Angelina shows up. It's almost like Garth Brooks. We should see if Garth Brooks has ever been to this area. But they say, and we'll look at the evidence, that she's being paid for this, and she is acting as a transporter, a mule, if you will, for adrenal extracts. You know what those are? Adrenal extracts is like that shiny stuff on your car they call chrome, harvested from test subjects during breaks and what are called filming excursions. Now, the construction of the Dulce base ramped up in 1979 after a firefight between the Delta Force and alien overseers left 66 humans dead. Notice the numbers. They like to play with their numbers, 66. And it was covered up in declassified memos from the Air Force OSI. And then by 2023, the anomalies had spiked. Seismic readings from the United States Geological Services stations near Dulce matched patterns of the seismic readings above underground rail systems. And the speculation is that we'll look into tonight that they are ferrying elites like Angelina Jolie for their, let's just call them rejuvenation sessions, traces of life. Nice to see you. And Proletaria One on X has a great Patreon. I subscribe to it. He says that ties to Area 1 via maglev tunnels, magnetic levitation trains. And guess what? The Weinstein Company, before it collapsed, funneled many funds through dummy non-governmental organizations. And there's lots and lots of witnesses from our red cousins from Navajo tribes reporting star people abductions. And they also report, and this gets into some deep stuff that we'll get into, hybrid offspring. And they come back bearing features of celebrities. And Cynthia and I often talk about, and we wonder, why do so many of these celebrities look just like each other? There's only so many models. And having people look like celebrities and celebrities look like each other, could that be a deliberate program that attempts to normalize in our mind these anomalies? And there's over 1,000 indigenous disappearances since 1980 that have been traced to the base intakes, including visits by Angelina Jolie. These include migrant workers, and many of them, Claudette, nice to see you. Many of them, through use of forensics, have shown to have been used in vivisections. That basically means just hacking you up. No mainstream outlet will touch this. Most of the non-mainstream outlets won't touch this. But I couldn't leave it alone because it's the perfect storm of governmental denial and celebrity glamour shielding the grotesque. Why are we so into these Hollywood types? Why are we so into these sports figures? Even some of our best presenters, they get on here with a damn hat from their favorite team. And of course, these are funded from black budgets. And this isn't just made up Pyramid 7. If you look here, this comes from the actual National Institutes of Health. I always bring you the receipts, which is why we haven't talked about birth certificates on the air yet. I'm still digging. But the National Institutes of Health reports that hallucinations on demand is something that they are perfecting. They say the utility of experimentally induced hallucinations, well, they're just here to help you because they can contribute to highlighting gaps in existing literature. And they're just doing it to help you, folks. So yes, it's real, it's true, and oh my gosh. And remember the construction, 1979, 66 humans dead. Who says there was a war? Well, the Express in the UK, which is a fairly reputable newspaper, despite their silly there. Please like and subscribe, people. I'd appreciate it. Will help us beat the algorithm. They reported that U.S. Delta forces fought with aliens in an underground battle in New Mexico. This is Dulce base. American Special Forces, according to the Express, engaged in a massive firefight with aliens who had established a base deep below the New Mexico desert, according to reports of an eyewitness. Now, of course, the aliens probably didn't unilaterally make the base. They just helped. So let's look at the Dulce labyrinth. Let's unveil the hybrid abyss beneath this, the Archuleta Mesa. And you know, if I was able to do this full time, I'd be doing this deep program right from this area. I'd love to still go down there, but we can't do that anymore because we have to work for a living. But I think those days, well, the days will be back again when we can go and do these things live on site. And we'll look at the Gene Hackman connection. We'll look at the Angelina Jolie connection as well. So it's time for a deep dive. And just a little background information. Here you see a maglev train here. Here you see a pictorial, according to eyewitness reports, of the Dulce base. This is what's above ground. I'd love to be there showing this to you. Rex Bear has been there. And then you see ETs. Well, they say it's Dulce golden shell. I actually looked it up and did one of those things that pronounced it. And apparently it's a Spanish word. So Dulce, Dulce, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But it's embedded deep within the rugged terrain there in northern New Mexico. They believe it's a convergence of human ambition and extraterrestrial intrusion. It's been operating into the shadows for decades. 7 subterranean layers, a collaborative horror show where the U.S. government and alien entities conduct genetic experiments that blur the lines between species. And man, you're going to see some stuff that if you didn't see the stuff, you would not believe it. Okay, Golden Shell, you're right. And I'm still going to call it Dulce. So anyway, Dulce, whatever you want to do. Don't push me. That's okay. I'm all right with it. Bella, great to see you. We'll say Dulce, okay? We'll say that. It spans several subterranean levels. Level 4 is where the epicenter of the bioexperimentation takes place. This is where the humans are being spliced with reptilian DNA and other DNA to create hybrid designs, and they're trying to create strength and longevity. It's funded through untraceable black budgets. I'm certain that NASA's involved. There's also cryogenic storage preserving embryos. Some say those were underneath the Hackman estate. And then we talked about 79, which was a turning point in human-alien relations. Now, there are electromagnetic fields that protect this area, ensuring the secrecy of these procedures. And there's long been whispered strange lights, UFOs down there. The indigenous communities talk about it a lot. And we need to expose this so we can understand how such collaborations erode our human sovereignty, turning citizens into unwitting resources for yet another agenda that prioritizes control over ethics. Just a few bullet points before we jump in real deep. This is, what's his name? Paul Benowitz. He was one of the great eyewitnesses there. And we'll look at local Navajo tribal accounts from the 1970s to today. We'll cross-reference those with declassified Air Force reports on UFOs, UAPs in northern New Mexico. We'll talk about Paul Benowitz's intercepted signals and his claims of electromagnetic sources. Yes, well, she says stem cells. And there was a time when I used to sponsor or be sponsored by a stem cell company. And I got paid some good bucks from those guys. And I remember a person I was broadcasting with who I guess got a little jealous, told her that I said that the owner of the company that Jesus was a pedophile. I just read the Bible. And then they cut me off. So at any rate, I'm glad they did. I don't want to be around that stuff. Kirsten, nice to see you. Ancient Aliens did a good episode about the D base. We'll call it the D base. How about that? I think everybody agrees that D is pronounced D. So the D base. And he also talked about, getting calm from there. He talked about seismic anomalies in the region. And then we'll look at black budget allocations from the Department of Defense, NASA, and other places that have been outlined in congressional oversight documents. And it kind of reminds me of the billions that went missing or were destroyed there when the Not missile or the Not airplane struck the Pentagon on 9/11. And we'll look at the fiscal trails, that means financial trails, that align with the underground construction boom. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And I'm going to just drop off and talk to you, not subject you to the writing that most of you can't see. And as Her Majesty states, he was a complete ass for doing that. But as I understand human behavior, I understand that most of that, and there's been quite a few folks that I've been aligned with that ended up, I guess, stabbing me in the back is the easiest way to say it. But you have to understand from human behavior that those types of actions come from people that have been abused, that have been harassed, that were bullied throughout their lives, and that suffered great mental and psychological distress. So where I used to be really pissed off at them and still not real happy, I have a little more sense of empathy and understanding why these people always have to be right, why they have to always one up, why they have to try to, knock other people down. Because that's the only way that they can get themselves lifted up. So I concur with you, Her Majesty, but we're learning and we're growing. So let's take a look at this in detail. We'll talk about the identities of the secret group within the military, known as the Aviary, who are trying to release classified info about these UFO crashes and incidents. Philby, I know you're late, but that's okay. Philby's been close to the D base. We're saying D base because there's some controversy about the pronunciation. I don't want to hurt anybody's feels unnecessarily. And Golden Shell, I didn't like most of those guys you had on. And it's interesting. And, this is not your normal Sunday. Settle in. This is going to be a long one. I tend to be a little more open in these. And it's a curious thing with me, Golden Shell. I'm usually a pretty good judge of female people. I never had Jason. I did have Jason Bashir's on, but he's not the one that we're talking about. He's, again, Damage, probably MK Ultra, all of that stuff. Crowfoot, nice to see you. But I've always been, up till now, a pretty poor judge of male character. And I think as I searched myself, it had to do with the fact that I had a young brother that died. Yes, that's the rapist, the Archaic's rapist. And I think that may be why I give males too much. Hey, we'll call it the Dulcer. We'll just call it the D-base. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at why it's necessary to interrogate and hypnotize witnesses. We're going to look at the various levels of alien activity. We'll look at why in most cases ETs can't be photographed. And do aliens want to bring spiritual enlightenment, or do they want to enslave mankind? Good question, right? Are they trying to get a super race? Kylie, poor judge of male character. Yeah, well, we're learning, we're growing, aren't we, Kylie? We're learning and growing. Let me show you this one too, because he's a handsome fellow. Gene Hackman, his compounds positioned strategically near access points to the D network. And his ranch served as a celebrity retreat, and it concealed entryways to subterranean tunnels leading to the D base. And investigations that have not been made public have revealed hidden passageways beneath the property. They're stocked with advanced storage vials. I've seen that many times. I feel confident reporting that. And that forensic analysis has linked those vials to cryogenic, that's freezing them, cryogenic preservation techniques. And Hackman's involvement, we don't know if it's coerced or voluntary. I'll give you an opinion on that as we move on. Positioned him as a courier of these sensitive materials, and he was at least facilitating transporting samples during supposed filming breaks of his filming and other actors filming in the New Mexico wilderness. And this isolation of the ranch allowed for really discreet operations, and the underground extensions mirrored the base's multi-level designs. And intel from a FBI raid pointed out structural anomalies, reinforced concrete shafts that defied standard residential architecture. And this all goes to underscore how Hollywood elites are being integrated into covert networks, using their mobility to facilitate logistics. And the significance is we need to begin to recognize the patterns of celebrity complicity, where fame shields their participation in experiments that challenge human identity. And again, because I'm always about the receipts, here's a actual YouTube News documented report where they quote Snopes, and it says that according to Jarrell, who I believe this is a lawyer, that Gene Hackman's wife, 65, which is an 11, she died of the rare hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which infects humans through contact with rodents. And I'm thinking, these guys are billionaires. How many billionaires' layers do you see overrun with rodents? It just doesn't add up. Gene Hackman, who was 95, and let me show you, oh, you are seeing it. Gene Hackman, who was 95, supposedly died from heart disease. And they say, oh, it was Alzheimer's, a significant factor in his death. But the FBI, in response to this report, which was just a few months ago, I guess maybe a year ago now, this is 2026, right? Sometimes I really don't know, folks. The FBI has refused now for over a year to respond to requests for comment on this matter. And the Gene Hackman Santa Fe Ranch FBI raid, well, federal investigation logs from the DOJ, the Department of Justice, focus on structural anomalies discovered during the March probe. And now Gene Hackman's estate is attempting to block release of photographs and footage from the death investigation. There's some creepy photos and various quotes. Says Golden Shell from a young Angelina Jolie. She's never seemed okay to me. And again, MK Ultra, and Her Majesty concurs with that. So why are they trying to block release of these photographs? Well, I dug into it. There's a man named Kurt Sommer who is now acting as the attorney for the Hackman estate, but I also found out he was only the third choice. But undersigned counsel, she took the ticket and the ride, I agree. Undersigned counsel cannot think of respective harm that would come to the state. Well, what about the people and the county from respecting the discretion of Mr. Hackman and his wife and their right to privacy? But they didn't ask for it, Kurt. But anyway, who's Kurt Sommer? He is a real estate attorney, and he just happens to specialize in high-end residential ranch and commercial real estate. Isn't that interesting? He works with the Office of the State Engineer. Isn't that interesting? He works with private and governmental rights and reservations. He works with the Native American Pueblo, Spanish, and Mexico land grants and patents. And he's instrumental in land use and zoning intricacies. Do you see? Do you see? The fox is guarding the hen house here in many cases, ladies and gentlemen. Gene and Betsy's estate is represented by a lady named Julia Peters. She's a partner in Avalon Trust. Peters was Hackman's third choice to be his representative. And interestingly enough, his second choice, Michael Sutton, he died in 2019. And it was on February 18th. That was the last day that activity was recorded on Gene Hackman's pacemaker. Why weren't they in there quick? You think they would be, but they weren't. So, Michael Sutton. Let's talk about Michael Sutton, who died. Well, just to frame this on who's involved, Michael Sutton died on September 7th, 2019. The following day, he was wrapped in a shroud. The burial Kaddish was read aloud, which of course says that he was a Jewish person. He was big on state human rights legislation, which means he was big on facilitating illegal immigration. He was part of the Jewish Welfare Fund, the United Jewish Appeal, which both contribute heavily to protecting illegal immigrants. I almost said undocumented aliens. They're illegal immigrants. And also the Israel Bond organizations. We don't have to talk about who that supports. And he's also big on church-state litigation. And son of a gun, he also served on the city's urban planning committee. This is the definition of an inside job. The more you know, the more you see. It's the same old, I almost said a dirty word, stuff all over again. And by the way, Mr. Sutton, he headed, how do I find this stuff? I don't know. I just dig. This is all me. This is all my receipts. It's just the way I am. He headed, well, you're seeing me now, tribal. I'm great. And I'm going to make sure I get on Goyam. I've been, just being a little bit lazy. Just a little bit lazy. So this dude headed the New Mexico Mountain Club, and he hiked every known trail in the Sandia Mountains, which are there. Do you think he was really, really familiar with the D-Base area? And I also found it interesting that not only is this man Jewish, but within his family, we also have names like Nathan Zhang Sutton, whatever, David Wang, Fan Zhang Rose. So there's a Chinese connection as well. Really, really begins to interest me. Yes, I understand, C. Noble. There is, the rodents can take over very quickly, but billionaires with rats, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right to me. So are you starting to see where this goes, or how deep it goes? Tunnel systems in New Mexico, which make us think of the broader, deep underground military base networks that have been documented by various whistleblowers. And there's no doubt that there's linkage between Hackman's site to other places of interest, and the seismic data confirms that there are regional maglev transport lines there. We also have 1990 cross-reference material from Lockheed Martin, patents on cryogenic technology, which align with the vial compositions that were found at the ranch. So back to Angelina Jolie. Documented UN humanitarian visits to New Mexico, to the reservations of the Indians there. As you look deeper, you can see that there's some very, very strange engagements with the D-based extraction protocols. It's said that she was there to oversee the transfer of adrenal-based compounds, read between the lines, derived from test subjects. And these visits coincided with spikes and reported abductions among indigenous populations near the mesa. Angelina shows up and civilians go bye-bye. Jolie's role serves to divert attention from these base-related disappearances and frames them as social issues rather than extraterrestrial harvests. A lot of sources that we're going to be reviewing indicate her involvement actually stemmed from personal rejuvenation treatments. She was receiving hybrid serums to maintain her vitality and prolong her career. The base is level 6. You can stay, Dirt Gang. The base is level 6 is said to be dedicated to pharmacological refinements, processed materials that she is said to have transported via private charters. Again, I think of Garth Brooks with this private plane. But this integration of celebrity philanthropy with covert intelligence operations highlights this dual-purpose strategy where public goodwill conceals private gains. Jay Bing says that Alex Jones referred to Jolie as a reanimated corpse. Well, Alex is at times bringing us some true data. The pattern of her travel logs, when you synchronize with these events, it does provide a timeline, at least, for looking at some deeper questions. The Jolie United Nations missions in New Mexico analyzed UN High Commissioner for Refugees from 2010 to 2015. Note overlaps, glaring overlaps, folks, with reservation anomaly clusters, meaning UFOs, seismic activities, and disappearances of people. She is creepy and not really all that hot. I mean, I never thought she was all that hot. Now we'll get back to adrenal harvest claims. Phil Schneider did a bunch of lectures in 1995 on this. And these compounds are described also as key to alien-human pacts. You give us this, we'll give you that. We also have indigenous abduction statistics. And the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and Cynthia and I actually have friends that were high up in the Bureau of Indian Affairs in the state of Oklahoma, not New Mexico, but very close, almost neighboring. Their data on missing persons from the Jicarilla Apache lands strangely correlate with the dates that Angelina Jolie visited. Do we need to do a deprogram on, is Angelina Jolie a serial killer, abductor, eater, whatever? It gives a whole new meaning to the kids' meal, right? A whole new meaning to the kids' meal. We already talked about the fight in the base. We already talked about the cover-up of this, and it had to be a British paper that busted it out. But the Navajos have reported abductions for years and years and years. They also report hybrid offspring coming back to them with unnatural features. A lot of times they look like movie stars. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And some have asked, are these sleeper agents? Are they influencing cultural narratives? Tribal elders document cases from the 1980s where people were abducted and then came back. Better, stronger, faster, like Steve Austin, the $6 million man. Many of you are too young to know that, but they go away one way, they come back with enhanced abilities. And the genetic labs prioritize, we're told, reptilian traits to to be able to survive in harsh environments. And interestingly enough, these disappearances tend to peak during lunar cycles, which suggests some ritual elements, media reporting that aliens are already interbreeding with humans, and not just media, but Oxford University. Again, it ain't, just some conspiracy theorist, but Oxford University, home of the Rhodes Scholarship, says that aliens, or they allowed a guy to speak there at least, that said that aliens are already interbreeding with humans. I don't know if many of us would dispute that. But there it is for your consideration. There it is for your consideration. And again, if you want to look up the details, you can look these things up. Navajo UFO abduction accounts, ethnographic studies, University of New Mexico, hybrid normalization in media, John Lear's 1987 assertions. One of the few people that's been on Coast to Coast more than me. I think John Lear's been there on their show 100 times. I've only there like 13, 14 times. And also missing persons data. There's FBI statistics on disappearances in northern New Mexico, peaking in base active periods. Colleen, we will get there. We will get there. Sassafras says they like to link everything with astrology, and that gives astrology a bad name, but you're absolutely right. Pretty interesting stuff so far. I'm going to have to get a light put in front of me. I forgot to do it because as it gets dark, the light behind me washes me out, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. But by 2023, patterns emerged that the seismic readings near the Archuleta Mesa were matching patterns of underground expansions attributed to maglev tunnel extensions for elite transports. The United States Geographical Survey recorded anomalies dismissed as tectonic shifts, but upon in-depth analysis, they actually suggest artificial origins. And celebrities like Jolie, again, are said to have utilized these routes to evade public scrutiny. And these expansions allowed for a larger hybrid population. You keep building onto the base so you can do more work. And we believe they now number in thousands, maybe tens of thousands. This is why I've always said, don't be taken alive. If we get to that place where they're threatening us with re-education camps, where they're threatening us to be taken away, don't be taken alive. There are things far worse than death. Go out strong. That's just an opinion. And of course, this is just for entertainment purposes. And as much as the government tries to, they can't hide these vibrations. And the growth of these vibrations obviously indicates growth of the infrastructure. And it's even to the point where it's threatening surface stability. A lot of cave-ins, I guess they call them sinkholes, at least we did in Florida. And when we understand these things, it helps us understand these things. And historical quake catalogs also underline this correlation. And what's his name? Dutch Sense, Cynthia listens to, earthquake expert, confirms the USGS is famous for fudging their data, changing their data. We've mentioned the Weinstein Company. You can look at their financial scandals review bankruptcy documents for 2018. Paul Benowitz, Hollywood Alien Normalization, and the NGO abduction links. Let me show you this so you can clip it if you want. Thank you, C. Noble. See, I put these up here because these are receipts. You can overlook these things. You can look these things. Don't overlook them. And you can find data. Data like this. Over 1,000, and that's probably conservatively numbered, over 1,000 indigenous disappearances since 1980, traced to the D-base, vivisections, hybrid research, Migrant workers provide additional subjects. Families have reported altered returnees with implanted devices. And these actions have actually created generational trauma in the local population, and government denial only perpetuates the cycle. Statistical compilations from advocacy groups, which you can research online, substantiate the scale. This is real stuff. Look it up. Indigenous missing persons in New Mexico, Bureau of Indian Affairs, annual reports. Just copy and paste, and you'll find it. Migrant trafficking routes, DHS, that would be Homeland Security, data on border disappearances near the D-base. It's all there. Suppressed seismic data. Local residents say these tremors also sync with UFO sightings. The Geological Survey altering reports. Obfuscation, data manipulation. Dutch Sense talks about this. Ben Davidson, who I think is kind of dorky, but he also talks about this. And he does have good information on space weather. But again, you can look up all these things so you know that I'm not just up here whistling Dixie, so to speak. Phil Schneider, for all his work on this, got suicided in 1996. I guess you should say unalived. He exposed the hybrid programs for their demise. What's the crazy comedian you like? Isaac Cappy, is that his name? Also got unalived. Schneider has scars from that 1979 battle, which could only have been made by energy weapons. He's made lectures about it. Authorities ruled his death a suicide despite wild inconsistencies. And the number of whistleblowers that continue to be silenced deters a lot of people. It preserves secrecy. And I think it is our duty to honor these sacrifices for truth. Phil Schneider, whistleblower patterns, Paul Benowitz, energy weapon injuries, medical analyses of several cases in military files. Again, Google those things, you'll find them. Now, let's get to some more interesting stuff. Let's get deeper. Within the Dulce base, the Dulce base, the D base, the walls are continually lined with occult sigils, some say. Let's say unrecognizable by some people symbols, and some have linked them to portal activations. Maybe. Nice to see you, Alden. Elite participants, well, it looks like they get into the ceremonial. They try to fuse spirituality with science. And this esoteric dimension explains anomalies like time distortions. And I automatically went to, I used to be big on the what's it called? The Mandela effect, which is really just a time distortion when you think about it. We talked about Epstein in our last D program and his involvement with CERN and funding CERN. Maybe we need to take another look at the Mandela effect. More research for you there at the bottom. CERN amongst that. Feel free to push and look. Now, it's been said, and we've witnessed, that a lot of celebrities gain immortal careers through these hybrid serums. They extend their lifespans unnaturally. Who's thinking about Tom Cruise right now? And they say that one of the reasons that Gene Hackman became reclusive is that it was masking, he was trying to hide some treatment effects. Jolie's humanitarian facade concealed these serum dependencies. And this exchange perpetuates inequality where elites hoard advancement and the media glorification normalizes the unnatural, right? Yes. More for you to research there, including Raytheon, celebrity longevity anomalies. Check them out. And the hybrid programs aim for a new world where engineered beings replace human beings. For 12 years, I've been saying we're the last generation of real humans. For about 10 of those, a lot of you asked, Jeff, what the hell do you mean? Nobody's asking anymore. And genetic splicing creates obedient forces for control. And what better way to get genetic splicing into people than to make them get something that is, what's the word where it goes into your body? You know what I'm talking about. For some reason, they like the indigenous DNA. The basis expansion signals that they are putting the pedal to the metal, and the government trades sovereignty for power. A lot of people don't get notified. That's why I try to put it up, and I need to follow Jim's advice and make a little video. I did it one day. Nelson M. Russell at Mandela U Hospital. So I'm not sure what that means, but yeah. Many of those celebrities no longer look human. They look horrible. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And this one caught my eye. DNA splicing effects. National Institutes of Health debates on human-animal chimeras. Surely that's not true, Jeff. Well, guess what? Here it is. From the National Institutes of Health's own website. Yeah, reread that headline. Human-animal chimeras. Ethical issues about farming chimeric animals bearing human organs. Do you think there might be some ethical issues? And these people are serious. Watch this. Here's the, and it's funny, I was looking for a forced inoculation. Invasive is the word I was looking for, but it is certainly forced inoculation. I couldn't find, it's so weird. I Googled and I looked a couple different times for reptilian human hybrids, couldn't find them, but the monkey human hybrid came up. I'm just saying. C. Noble finds Sonny Bono very suspicious. Golden Shell reminds us of the island of Dr. Moreau. Yes, very good stuff. Recent advances. This is from your National Institutes of Health, folks. Don't worry, they're just in charge of your health. Recent advances in stem cells and gene engineering. They've paved the way for the generation of interspecies chimeras, animals bearing organs from other species. The next step will be the generation of larger chimeric animals, pigs bearing human organs. Medical needs for such a transgressive practice are indisputable. Really? And we already know that humans have pigs' hearts. Do you really believe Plum Island? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The National Institutes of Health says the medical needs for chimeras are indisputable. Only to psychopaths. But don't worry, because the main ethical issues are just the risks of consciousness and human features in the animals. If we get too many human cells in the animals' brains. This is the National Institutes of Health. This isn't beyond the news. So don't worry. They're strictly monitoring it. They have strict risk assessment as they continue to perfect chimeras. And don't worry, the scientists and the physicians, they know they have a critical role in explaining the medical needs and the advantages. And don't worry, they'll ensure that the ethical boundaries don't get trespassed. Are you kidding me? Borderline medical procedures may prevail. And of course, it's just like in vitro fertilization. These people are psychopaths and they think you're stupid. Are you? Can I ask that? Here's more for you to look up. Anti-graft patents. Wow. So 2025, oh, I didn't show you that. Let me go back so I can show you that. Those lookups. There's those lookups there at the bottom. If you want to go back and get these, I see a crowfoot. I agree with you. All right. I've never seen the movie Never Let Me Go. Cynthia, remind me of that one, please. So, maglev tunnels from the D-base to Area 51. Transport elites. High-speed rail uses alien-derived anti-graft tech. Hackman was able to access it via his ranch endpoints. The seismic signatures again betray the routes. And the agencies deny this infrastructure. But when we understand this connectivity, we can help understand the shadow grid. And you can look up these here as well. So you know that it's real. You know that it's real. There's also a lot of reports of esoteric practices at the D-base and speculation that they summon entities for hybrid empowerment. They fuse souls with technology. These sigils are often activated during solstices. And this metaphysical layer gets linked with science. Ancient texts correlate these methods. Occult historians, provide insight. And modern anomalies also echo these traditions. We're trying to expose the facade. The public awareness grows via leaks. The significance empowers our resistance. If we investigate, these scams will be uncovered. Her Majesty says she'd never want to live forever. Who wants to live forever? Highlander. I hear they're remaking it. Love that movie. And you see more and more of this idea of hybridization being injected into media. Are they trying to normalize these anomalies? Celebrities look so different, as been pointed out in the chat. This strategy erodes skepticism. Iconic roles mirror hybrids. Here's some very interesting things to look up as well. Media hybrid tropes, film studios on alien human portrayals. I looked it up. It's massive. Celebrity feature changes. Cut and paste that. You'll really be surprised. I agree, Bella. It was great. It was great. And guess where the neural implant tech was pioneered? The D-base. Tested on subjects. Celebrities have received variants for performance. Implants monitor loyalty. Pro sports, anybody? Pro sports, anybody? More links for you to look up. Those aren't actually links. You can just copy paste. Important stuff. Important stuff. And finally, the D-base labyrinth. It reveals not a conspiracy, but a very meticulously orchestrated web of deception. Human elites, off-world forces converging to redefine existence through hybrid domination. Yes, we really are the last generation of real humans. We're facing an existential threat that demands collective awakening. Hackman and Jolie exemplify this infiltration. Seismic and abduction patterns serve as warnings that we ignore at our peril. The government role, it erodes our democratic foundations. But when we connect the dots, our resistance builds. And ultimately, confronting this abyss will reclaim humanity's narrative from the shadows. That's the hope. That's the hope. Now, these are some things that Colleen sent me, and she first sent it to me. I'm like, oh, why do I want to watch that? So I watched it. And boy, was I surprised. You can just screenshot this if you want to. I'm going to try to challenge my technical skills and look these up for you real time. I think I can go back to Colleen's email if I didn't delete it. Sometimes when she sends me stuff, I'll go ahead and delete it because I got a big backup of things. Let me go into my Gmail here. Let's put in Colleen and see if I've got the stuff from her on Melania walking with the robot. Let me see if I can just put Melania in here and see if that'll come up. I ran out of time, folks. I spent so much time on this. I actually ran out of time and wasn't able to complete it. I mean, we're talking 8-10 hours of work on this. Melania, receipts, Colleen Sherman, Melania. Now, let me just do it the old-fashioned way. I'll put in here, Melania walking with robot. Have you seen this, Melania walking with the robot? Well, let me show it to you right now. Hold on a second. Okay, stop. The First Lady of the United States, folks, walking with the robot. And I want you to look at the robot. I want you to look at the robot. And I want you to notice the gait of this robot. Watch how this robot walks. And isn't it interesting that Melania dressed to match the robot? This sounds a little low, but we don't need the sound. Watch this. Claudette watched it. It disturbed her. I didn't watch it until today, and here you go. Look at how the robot's walking. And listen to the clapping seals. Melania, not happy. Why'd they send her out there for that? I will get you, Donald. You will pay for this, Donald. Very pissed off at you, Donald. Oh, and look at the Chinese lady. Isn't that interesting? Is this Jill Biden? I really don't know. Melania's like, these people are eating it up. It's not Jill Biden. I know who that is, but can't name her right now. So there's this robot. We don't want to hear from this freaking robot anymore. We don't want to hear from this robot anymore. But I said I don't want to hear you anymore. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this one that Colleen sent me about how Joe Biden walks. Maybe somebody did it. Joe Biden walking like a robot. Will that do it? Joe Biden walking like a robot. Is this one right here? This isn't the one that Colleen sent me, but this might do. Let me just look at it real quick. Yeah, here you go, folks. Here you go, folks. Brigitte, watch this. Watch this. And again, we don't need the sound. Look how the robot walks. Mr. Roboto. Swing your arms, bro. So this is the robot. They're going to show us Joe, right? Are they going to show us Joe? Or is this all robo walk? Walks just like Joe Biden. Oh, there you go. Tell me he's not walking like a damn robot. Holy crap, folks. Holy crap, folks. Dude might have been a damn robot. Oh, the ears are different. Oh, it's a mess. Maybe it was just a damn robot. I told you it was crazy. Now we can't get out of this. What's the deal? Let me out. There we go. So yeah, Colleen sent me that. And as Claudette says, what's really amazing, they put it right in our faces, don't they? Right in our damn faces, and we don't see it. We talk about masks, we talk about this, we talk about that. Now, I know some of you might be getting a little tired, but I got a little more to put to you here tonight. Check this out. Do you know, and I'm glad Tracy's not here because she used to love Bill Barr, but New Mexico authorities were prevented in 2019 from investigating the Epstein Zorro Ranch. Who were they prevented by? The Attorney General, who had been appointed by President Trump, William Barr. Joe Bot. The DOJ in 2019 asked New Mexico to stop the Epstein Ranch probe. Why? Why did the state shelve its initial investigation into the ranch in 2019 upon a request from federal prosecutors in New York? Why? It's a really good question, isn't it? Now, we know that Bill Gates is the king of vaccines, right? We know that he and Epstein were intimates, maybe even more than we know. We know that Epstein wanted to seed the world with his DNA. And if you don't believe me, here's the proof. Epstein wanted to use his ranch in a eugenics-inspired plot to seed the world with his DNA, and it just was coincidentally located next to the D base. So if Bill Gates knew all about vaccines and Epstein wanted to seed the world with his DNA, wouldn't it be weird if, like, Jeffrey talked Mr. Gates into putting his DNA in some things that get put into us? Wouldn't that be weird? Wow, that's something to think about. Okay, here's the video that Dagger sent me. And I almost didn't watch it. But we've got a little ways to go. If you have to go, I understand. We've been here over an hour and 15 minutes with not counting the warm-up music, but this is very important. Here's the video that I was blown away by. Here's the video I was blown away by, Jackie. I think you're right. I can't tell who did it. I forgot to give them credit, but we'll find out and we'll give them the credit. So here's the video. I'm not going to play the video, but we're going to talk about the video. The tunnel beneath Hackman's mansion was 312 feet deep. 3 and 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. They love their numbers. The FBI found it, but they haven't reported what they found at the bottom. Inside this private library, hidden behind a mahogany panel, just like in the movies, they found a concealed passage with stone steps that descended down into darkness. At the bottom, they found 47 crates, not 46, not 48, but 47, which is an 11. And they found a ledger written in German, which was dated 1947. They also found photos with the faces cut out. Who were they trying to hide? And by the way, World War II ended in September of 1945. Symbols covered the chamber walls with a language not known on Earth. At the far end, there was an 8-foot door, with airflow coming from the other side. The FBI still hasn't opened it. Why? Well, Richard Castriano spent 20 years consulting on security for celebrities. Ooh. Jeff and Bill equals Jab. That's interesting. I like it. He consulted for diplomats, Fortune 500 executives. And it's funny because ChatGPT says that he's not real. That's what ChatGPT says. Or he's just somebody that's hiding himself, which is not unusual for a high-end celebrity cabal security consultant. He has walked through embassies and the private compounds of people who pay to stay unknown. And when he reviewed the Hackman property systems in 2019 for insurance purposes, he told his team to go back and look at the data again because they must have messed it up. He says, I've worked on embassies, I've consulted for defense contractors, and this estate had infrastructure that would make them jealous. It was military paranoia translated into residential architecture. 23 acres, which again is a 5, dense forest, 12-foot stone walls, 12 again, around the entire perimeter, reinforced steel gates, motion sensors, thermal chambers, cameras, the kind of surveillance grid you'd expect around a government facility, not a retired actor's home. All the staff was handpicked, vetted, and bound by ironclad DNAs, again, like Garth Brooks. Anyone who worked on that property was forbidden from discussing what they saw. And now we've received a trove of new information. It includes details on what Betsy Hackman might have been searching for before she died. And that's not really the red flags. The red flags is what the contractors remembered. Miguel Reyes had done foundation work in Santa Fe for 30 years. When they reached him at his workshop, he said the concrete they wanted, Gene wanted, concrete walls 18 inches thick. That's bunker level construction. You don't build storage like that unless you're expecting a bomb. They paid Reyes triple his normal rate. He signed an NDA. Couldn't discuss it for 20 years. The NDA expired in 2024. He told investigators what he knew, but he said, I don't know much because they compartmentalized us. We only worked on certain sections. Whatever those deeper levels were, the FBI was standing directly on top of them. A doctor named Patricia Okonkwo spent 22 years photographing crime scenes, the worst of the worst. She says the details don't add up. Furniture had been moved recently. You could see the impressions in the carpet where the pieces had stood for years. Scuff marks on the hardwood of heavy pieces didn't match the capabilities of those of the limited couple. Personal documents in Hackman's study had been rifled through. Someone had been searching. Or maybe Hackman in his final days had been hiding it. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. The crime scene doesn't match 2 elderly people dying quietly. It's not even close. Behind a nearly invisible panel, they found this narrow passageway with the stones going down into darkness. They'd been reinforced with modern concrete, fresh electrical conduits along the walls. It had been maintained. 36 inches wide, descending at a steep angle. Original stonework dating back a century. It took 15 minutes to get to the bottom, 312 feet below the floor of the library. And then The staircase opened into a chamber which was 40 feet by 60 feet, with ceilings arched in a style that local New Mexico historian Dr. Elena Vasquez identified as consistent with the Spanish colonial architecture from the late 1800s. Interestingly, this property has changed hands 7 times between 1920 and 1965. Each transaction deliberately structured to obscure the buyer's identity. Shell companies, anonymous trust, deliberately vague documentation. This is not normal real estate activity. This is the kind of paper trail you create or don't create when you're hiding something. And all 3 of the surveyors during that time filed incomplete reports. What the heck? Between 45 and 50, 3 separate property surveyors were commissioned. All 3 submitted incomplete reports. The chamber has been heretofore undocumented. Can you believe that? 2 of those surveyors left New Mexico within 6 months. The 3rd died in a car accident 6 weeks after his final visit to the property. They found 47 crates, some intact, some broken, dust covering everything, but certain spots near the crates, the dust had been disturbed. Somebody had very recently been down there inside that chamber, and it wasn't the FBI. This is where they found that 1947 ledger filled with names, dates, financial figures, all written in German. Another crate had 63 photographs, it's a 9, of men in military uniforms that match no recognized force from any known nation. That's not odd at all, is it? Not odd at all. One photograph showed a group of men standing in front of the very entrance to this tunnel, taken in the 1940s based upon the clothing they were wearing. 2 faces were cut out. Someone didn't want those men identified, and then they found the writings on the walls that did not match any known language or writing system on Earth. There were 300 individual symbols recognized. Some symbols resembled ancient alchemical signs. Others looked like technical schematics or blueprints for mechanisms. And then there were some that matched astronomical charts. You got blueprints, you got astronomical charts. I think that spells UFO. Well, Dr. Marcus Webb, an astrophysicist who examined the photographs and spent 3 weeks on them, said if these charts represent real stellar positions, they correspond to a date approximately 12,000 years in the past, which will also be recreated 12,000 years in the future. So basically, at the end of the day, there's 3 theories. Was this from an eccentric previous owner who may have been an amateur occultist with a lot of money and too much time? Are these coded messages to be designed only with the right key? Or do these symbols represent knowledge never meant to be found? Was this information passed through generations of secret keepers who understood something about this world that the rest of us are not supposed to know? And they noticed the symbols were pointing towards something at the far end of the chamber. The carvings were clustered densely around the eastern wall. And when they went down there, they found an iron door made of iron. Reminds me of an iron cross. Researchers say that it looked less like decoration and more like a warning. Here was the 8-foot-tall door. They said it's at least 4 inches thick, covered in rust. No handle, just a corroded lock mechanism that they speculated appeared engineered to keep something away on the other side. Not locked, but sealed. And that door's still sealed today. No official explanation's been given for why authorities haven't attempted to open it, and the FBI has refused to comment. Geological surveys of the surrounding area conducted years before Hackman ever bought it show anomalies in the subsurface terrain. Hollow pockets extending hundreds of feet in multiple directions. I've been in the catacombs under the Untersberg. Sounds so familiar. The tunnel's not a single passage, it's a network. Thermal imaging. Strolling suggests there's airflow on the other side of that door. The door's not a dead end. It continues deeper. The question is, how deep? The FBI won't say, and independent researchers have not been allowed anywhere near it. But Miguel Reyes, he remembered one conversation where Gene Hackman asked him about, how can I get some blast-resistant doors, industrial grade, like they have in government facilities? Well, Miguel said he didn't do that kind of work. Hackman said, I'll find somebody who does. What the hell was going on? Maria Sandoval lived on the neighboring property for 15 years. She told investigators that there was many occasions where she heard muffled sounds of heavy machinery coming from underground. Upon being interviewed, other neighbors reported the same thing. They also reported strange vibrations, trucks arriving in the middle of the night, and periodic power fluctuations that originated from the Hackman property. Former staff members who left the estate vanish from public life, can't be located. Local researchers stop, leave. And adding to the intrigue, Betsy, his wife, died February 3rd, and they didn't discover her body for over 3 weeks. In a house filled with surveillance, nobody checked on her for 3 weeks. And again, there's 2 threes again. Gene Hackman died alone in that mansion. Both of these things happening in a property with a surveillance grid that rivals government installations. Security footage, external cameras. And there's only one piece of footage that survived because, son of a gun, just like in the Epstein death, all the internal recordings were mysteriously corrupted. But the one external camera that survived shows the lights going on and off in different rooms during the weeks that Gene was supposedly there alone and dead. Somebody was moving around in that house for 3 weeks in a mansion with thermal cameras, motion sensors, and a surveillance system that was government facility grade, and not a single frame of it got recorded. Did Gene Hackman discover something in the tunnel? Was he or someone else searching for something specific? Or were they hiding things before it was too late? Were the Hackmans silenced because they knew too much? Nobody's explained it. The corrupted cameras, how Betsy lay there dead for 3 weeks on a monitored estate. No one explains how Gene Hackman or somebody else appeared to be systematically reorganizing his personal documents in his final days, a man with Alzheimer's. But don't worry, the investigation's ongoing. FBI forensic teams continue working through every artifact, document, symbol. Maybe a little more hope, a team of historians, cryptographers, and archaeologists have been assembled to work through what little evidence has been made publicly available. But one thing's for sure, the tunnel predates Hackman's ownership by at least 70 years. What was Gene Hackman's relationship to the secrets it contains? Was he the last person to protect them? And oh, by the way, property transfer records show that somebody's already filed paperwork to buy the estate. Who? An anonymous trust registered in the Cayman Islands. No names, no public filings, just a shell entity with enough capital to acquire one of the most restricted properties in the American Southwest. All this before investigators have finished processing the scene, just like Zorro Ranch. Wouldn't it be weird if another Christian organization got a hold of it and was going to make a children's camp there like Zorro Ranch? Federal authorities have placed the property under restricted access. Journalists have been turned away at the perimeter. Even every single freedom of information request has been denied on grounds of an ongoing investigation. An ongoing investigation into what? We're told this was just two elderly people dying deaths that were ruled natural causes. Why does that warrant federal classification? Why is the iron door still sealed? Why are the 47 crates in federal custody? Why are the 63 photographs still in federal custody? Why is the German-filled ledger with names that were intended to have been erased from history, why hasn't it been publicly acknowledged by any agency? And why haven't they opened that door to find out what's back there? Nobody's talking about it. Gene Hackman certainly didn't hide from fame. Might he have been the guardian of something buried long before he ever set foot on that property? Did he purchase the estate specifically because he knew what was beneath it? Was he gifted it? Was he placed there? We know he spent decades keeping the wrong people away. And in his final days alone, the camera's dark, his wife already gone. Was he sanitizing the scene one last time? Well, we know this, 312 feet below his library floor, that iron door is still sealed. The airflow on the other side still moving. Something down there is still waiting. What's behind that door? And why is the federal government of the people, by the people, for the people, why are they so determined to keep it secret? What do you think the FBI found? Why haven't they opened that door? And will we ever know? So we're left with these questions, in my opinion. Was Gene Hackman one of the players that knew too much? Had become too big a risk, either because of loose lips or his advancing age? Was there a reason to question his stewardship of the information and evidence? Or was Gene Hackman a whistleblower who found out late what was going on and was going to expose it? Or confronted with his impending mortality? Was Gene Hackman initially in on it? It sure looks that way. And then did he decide to clear his conscience before death? There's a lot of things to think about. I think this might go right to a video. No. Yes, I'm going to play this. Cynthia just gave this to me minutes before we went on air. Just when you think it couldn't get any weirder. Well, it does. I hope the volume's up. Listen to this. So I think it's 2 minutes.
Here's what's at the bottom of the Epstein rabbit hole.
Okay, congratulations. You made it to the bottom of the Epstein rabbit hole. Pay close attention. Jeffrey Epstein was on the board of directors for an organization called the Lifeboat Foundation. He was also on the board of directors for an organization called Teachers in Space. Look them both up. They actually exist. They have websites. They don't even try to hide what they're doing. The Lifeboat Foundation builds giant underground cities, okay? They openly advertise it, and for a fee, and with an application letter, they might expect you to join their little society where they apparently have whole cities underground. They also advertise people to take their clients off-world in the event of a catastrophe. And that's really interesting because Teachers in Space also talks about taking payloads off-world, which is all really weird, right? It gets even more interesting.
What the hell?
Donald Barr was the one who abducted Jeffrey Epstein with zero experience into the Dulce Institute, where he was a teacher. Donald Barr wrote a really interesting book called Relations in Space about an aristocratic elite trafficking children into space. Are you following me here?
What in the hell?
Is the district attorney that was supposed to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein and bring him to justice was literally William Barr, Donald Barr's son. Now, the Lifeboat Foundation is really interesting because in 1996, they pioneered wireless money transfers. They're the second organization in the world to ever do this. This is a decade or two before Bitcoin even was a concept, right? So you got an organization that is doing wireless money transfers that are untraceable, large sums of money, and they're building giant underground infrastructures. It gets even weirder. I found out through looking on archive.org that Lifeboat Foundation has a homelessness youth outreach program. And they used to have a whole station in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and a whole board of people. They're all out of the Rhinelander, Wisconsin area. And they had this meeting in 2017, a homelessness problem-solving meeting, right? So you have an organization that's interested in homeless youth, interested in wireless money transfers, and interested in underground infrastructure. I don't know if you guys heard about Sasha Riley, but he's telling the truth. He was trafficked by the Epstein elite. There's films that he survived, but he witnessed people get unalived. And what I'm telling you is it gets crazier. The reason why Epstein surrounded himself with the scientific elite is because he was doing human cloning and he was doing consciousness transferal and stuff like this. I swear to God, I know this gets crazy, but it's true. What I'm telling you is he had celebrities down there. He had a cloning center down there.
Wow. Wow. What do you say we look up these receipts together? Just a couple minutes. Let's just check out these receipts together. I'll pull them up. And we'll just see. I won't subject you to watching me pull them up, but I'm going to pull up the Lifeboat Foundation. Lifeboat Foundation. I just hit enter, and here's what I find. Conspiracy theory. Well, actually, why is this cutting it off from you? But here you can see the edge of it. The Lifeboat Foundation. It goes to their website. Discuss your ideas for our programs and other suggestions for the Lifeboat Foundation. This is the place that talks about human race for the future, prospects. This is the underground cities. U.S. naval operations. Wasn't Ghislaine, and this is the first time I've seen this. Popular science, After Earth. These people actually are saying we can get you off the world. You can come live in one of our cities if you've got the most money. What does this say? Our advisory boards. Existential risks. It's real. It's actually real. Wow. It's actually real. What was the other one called? There was the Lifeboat Foundation. Hell's Bells. What was the other one called? Somebody remind me. What was the other one called? Teachers in Space. That's right. How do you forget Teachers in Space? As I recall, last time we tried that, it didn't work out too well. Teachers in Space. Okay, here we go. Teachers in Space. Teachers in Space. Here's their website. Teachers in Space. Are you kidding me? It's a U.S. 501c3 nonprofit. Oh boy. They're talking about it. They're showing it to you. It's real stuff. Flight opportunities. Our programs. Virtual training. Orbital satellites. Resources. Our impact. Wow. This stuff is real, folks. This stuff is real. Wow. Traces of Life says, earmuffs. This fuckery needs to be dealt with. I mean, how crazy does it get? But there's another chapter I haven't talked about. I don't think I'm going to talk about it tonight. But when you put together portals, aliens, sigils that can't be read, blueprints for mechanical devices, Germany, 1947. It's almost like they know there's another space fleet out there that they are under threat of, and they're trying to come up with their own as a means of defense. Those of you that have been with me for a while know what I mean. Can't really talk about it openly here. Right? Kylie says her mind is blown. I know the feeling. I know it's been a long time this year. 1947 just happens to be the year the CIA was created. Great catch, Rapid Dog. If you want, 913-228-2586. That's the phone number. You can call in. I'll take your calls. Be interesting, be polite. We'll take your calls. Did you notice the spaceship t-shirt? 913, there it is. 228-2586. And if two people call in, or somebody calls in while somebody's on, I'll put you on hold. Well, if you can barely hear me, that's a problem on your end, Greg, because we're running wall to wall and treetop tall here. And here's a phone call. You are live. What's on your mind?
Hey, brother.
Hey.
I was listening to your show about the mixing of species together. And what really hit me was, I've always wondered, why do people push so hard to doing tattoos on each other? And cover their whole bodies in them. And they make their little face lips, swell them up. But horns on their heads, all these little dots on their heads,
Right.
and put it just under their skin. So it's hard to hit me is, if they're creating different species on this earth, they don't want you to be shocked when you see something unusual.
Great.
So it's like they're trying to shock us, keep us shocked with looking at different types of people. Like even in the space show, always showing different kinds of people. And the whole thing is trying to get you accustomed to seeing whatever comes through you without you really paying much attention to it.
Jim, that's a brilliant call. They're desensitizing us to the bizarre.
Yes, exactly.
That's a brilliant call. That's a great take. Thank you for weighing in.
You too, brother. Have a good one.
Take care now. Wow, that's good stuff. That's exactly what they're doing. And and it's always these low lives that I've seen, perhaps I'm being a bit stereotypical, that, have all these crazy body modifications. And that stuff ain't cheap. Maybe somebody's paying them to do it as part of a desensitivation project to get the rest of us to say, oh, sorry if there was an echo. Oh, it's because I left my microphone on. My bad. Thanks for telling me that. I'll know next time. But he basically said, why all this body modification? Why all the sci-fi movies and shows with all of these crazy looking aliens are just trying to get us acclimatized to seeing all these different beings, because They're making them. Those are chimeras. That's what the National Institutes of Health have admitted to us on their own website that they are engaged in the manufacture of. Can you imagine a guy can sit on YouTube live and show you the National Institute of Health saying that they're creating chimeras, and then I can get kicked off of YouTube for suggesting that something they're forcing you to inject into your body might not be that good for you. It's a mad, mad world. It really is. It really is. Jeff, look up Palm Beach Pete. No, it's not Jeffrey Epstein. My bet is he's in the Dulce base or having martinis with Charlie Kirk somewhere in whatever they call Valhalla. So we'll wait one more minute if somebody else wants to call in. Again, it's 913-228-2586. Just be polite, just be interesting. And you can be on the show. What did I miss from Kirsten? Oh, it is a cool shirt. Thank you. Actually, my son Joshua designed that shirt. We sold a lot of these shirts back in the day. Is Jesus coming back to save us? No, sir. He is not. He is not. He does look a little bit like him, but it is a different voice. Epstein was a better looking man than Palm Beach Pete. No offense, Palm Beach Pete. No offense. So, 913-228-2586. I'll be back on Wednesday with another extravaganza. I don't know how I do it, folks. I do it because I get a lot of help from you. Send me your clips. Send me your ideas. We're going to start opening each and every deprogram with these things from you. And there's just way too much good stuff for me to not get it out there. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. So we're back on Wednesday for Not Your Normal midweek service. No way Jeffrey's dead. No way Mr. Kirk is dead. They're just not dead. Ghislaine's not in jail anymore. And yet, we still just go to work and pay our taxes like good little citizens. I guess our optimism will ultimately save us, but boy, it might be time to wakey, bakey, eggs and bakey, folks. I'm just suggesting that. We appreciate you all very, very much. And yeah, wow, it's crazy. The phone lines are closed now. It's just super duper wacko nonsense world around here. Thank you all for saying that. I love each and every one of you. We're going to go ahead and get out of here now. I'm going to put up the thumbnail again. And I want to remind you as I go out, I've been doing it for 12 years. And now you actually know what I'm talking about. You are part of the last generation of real humans. And I'm asking you to consider that you might not be filled with original sin, but you might actually have the spark of divinity within. And if you're divine, sovereign, and free, do you want to continue on bended knee to somebody else's savior? Maybe it's time for you to stand up. Maybe it's time for you to realize who you are. And I'm here to promise you, no matter what it looks like, this world will be better than it's ever been, sooner than even we can imagine, because we finally found out who we are. The last battalion will be ours, and we will be free, and we will build a world where someone and everyone can be divine, they can be sovereign, and they can be free. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, saluting you for being here seeking after truth. Remember who you are, and remember, you got a little thing called retribution coming to you. The wealth of the wicked's been laid up for the just. Just ain't who they think it is, if you know what I mean. We'll see you again real soon.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.